Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of my Doctor Who collection. Today we're going to be looking at the Tom Baker years. First up is Robot. This one is an okay story. It's a 4-parter. You have a new Doctor, but it's still the same old unit story. So in that respect, it's kind of boring. It does have I guess the robot does have a nice design. Doesn't really look very good when walking around, but you know, it's a decent story. Not great. The next one, now, this one I have a special connection to because this is actually the first classic series Doctor Who episode I watched, and right after the end of the first episode, when the cliffhanger happens, I was just hooked on it. I needed to have more, and that's really what started me on this collection. This is the Ark in Space. This is written by Robert Holmes, but this is a really cool story. It's set in the future, like thousands of years in the future, on a space station called Nerva. And the last surviving humans are in like cryogenic suspension there, waiting to reseed the Earth when it's safe, because I think there were like solar flares or something like that from the sun made the Earth uninhabitable. But yeah, this is a really cool story. Next we have the Sontaran Experiment. This is a 2-parter. So I mean, you can pick this DVD up fairly cheap. I think for around like $10-12. It's an okay story. Really, not much to talk about. Honestly, not much happens in it. Then we have a classic episode. This is story number 78. It is Genesis of the Daleks. This kind of rewrites the origins of the Daleks a bit. You have the first appearance of Davros, which he becomes a major player in the next few Doctors' lives. But yeah, I mean, this episode, the story is pretty good. I quite enjoy it. Next we have story number 81. This is Planet of Evil. This is kind of a strange take on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where the planet is actually evil. It's like a planet of antimatter. But it's an interesting story. I recommend watching it. Next we have another classic, Pyramids of Mars. Not much to say about this one. Just it's a really cool story. Definitely pick it up. Then we have the Brain of Morbius. Now, a lot of people like the story and think it's like this big classic Doctor Who story. Honestly, I thought it was fairly boring. But you know, I mean, it's got a few redeeming qualities, but it's got a nice number of special features on the DVD. But the story is just really nothing to write home about, really. I mean, next we have The Hand of Fear. I really like this story. This is the last story with companion Sarah Jane Smith. But yeah, I thought the special effects on this were really good. The costume design on Eldrad, great, and just like the special effects for the hand moving, just really good. The story does kind of fall apart towards episode 4, but you know, the first 3 episodes are really solid on this. Next we have another classic episode. This is one of my favorite Tom Baker ones. This is The Deadly Assassin. And I'm not going to give anything away about the story because you really have to watch it. But this is the first Doctor Who story to feature no companion whatsoever. But this is set entirely on the Doctor's home planet. And it's got a nice mystery to it. Just a really fun watch. Now we have The Robots of Death. This is one of the first DVDs that came out, so it's really light on extras. But you know, it's a fun story. Also, I believe it's the first DVD to feature a new companion, Leela. She premiered in the episode before this. I believe it's called The Face of Evil. This is story number 90. But yeah, this is a good story. I'd recommend picking it up. Yeah, you can get The Robots of Death really cheap now. I think like $10. Next we have Horror of Fang Rock. This is written by Terrence Dicks, who did tons of novelizations for the Target novels. This is kind of a formulaic Doctor Who episode. This is kind of like a based on Siege story, but you know, it's still fun. It's also the only appearance of the Sontarans' deadly enemy, the Rutons. Next we have Image of the Findel. This is a cool story. Definitely strange. And the costumes for the villains in it isn't that good. But you know, I thought the basic overall story was pretty good on it. Next we have The Invasion of Time. I really like this. This is another one that's set mostly on the Doctor's homeworld. And Sontarans are in it again, of course. But you know, this is a pretty good story. This is also the last appearance of the Doctor's then companion Leela. Then next up is the Pirate Planet. This is actually the second part of the Key to Time season. Key to Time was I believe this was season 16, and they wanted to have like an overall story arc for the entire season. So all these stories, I think there are like 6 stories, they combine to on their search for the Key to Time. The Pirate Planet is written by Douglas Adams, who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So I mean, Douglas Adams actually does have a pretty strong connection to Doctor Who. So, but this is just really a really imaginative story, and it's a really good one. I would say it might be my favorite Douglas Adams Doctor Who story. Then we have the Android Zatara. This was actually a pretty decent one. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that Doctor has a new companion this series. It's Romana, played by Mary Tam. And you know, she's pretty good in this one. She doesn't really like the Doctor that much, and so they kind of fight a little bit on and off. But this is a pretty good story. I like it quite a bit. And that brings us to the Power of Kroll. This was written by Robert Holmes. I would say that the script is pretty decent for this. It's just not realized very well. You have you have the inhabitants of this planet that are all green. You can kind of see it on the back, but they're all green like that guy there. And it just reminds me of the Green Giant, which I don't think it's supposed to, but it's just not very well done. Then they have like the huge monster in it that's also not very well done, so it kind of makes the story fall apart for me. But you know, this DVD has some decent special features on it. Then we have Destiny of the Daleks. This is the second appearance of Davros in it. But the story just isn't that good. This is written by Terry Nation, of course, the creator of the Daleks. But it seems that he forgot what the Daleks actually are, because they're kind of referred to just as machines in this story, and they actually do have an alien being inside them. So yeah, I mean, it's just plot holes galore in this. Then we have another Douglas Adams one. It's actually said it's written by David Agnew, but it's a pseudonym for 3 different people. It's for David Fisher, Douglas Adams, and Graham Williams. So they kind of all wrote it. And I also forgot to mention that we have a new companion. Actually, it's still Romana, but it's played by a different actress, Lala Ward. And she actually, Romana actually regenerated at the beginning of Destiny of the Daleks. But this is a really cool story. Has some it's very well written. Has some great guest stars in it. Julian Glover's in this. Does a wonderful job. I just really like this story. This is a great DVD, must own for any Doctor Who fan. Then we have the Leisure Hive. This is an odd story. I didn't really like it that much. I thought it was kind of boring, a little tedious. But, you know, it's got some decent special features in it. What's notable about this is that this is, I believe, one of the first stories that the new producer, John Nathan Turner, oversaw. And he kind of wanted it to be rooted more in science.